What is up, YouTube? It is Doc here, Docky Style Gaming, and I am back at it again with another GodFall video for you all today. And in this one, we are going to be going over a lot of pretty important information regarding the Exalted Update getting ready to drop on April 7th. We're going to be taking a look at some videos, we're going to be taking a look at some information that was posted on a couple of sites, and some exclusive concept art that you'll probably only see here. So with so much to break down, I'm not even going to waste any more of y'all's time. Let's actually just hop straight into this video and straight into this info. Now, thanks to GodFall's Ultimate Edition coming out on Steam, Steam posted a pretty big description on some stuff that's going to be included with the entire bundle and some new stuff coming with the Exalted Update. One of which being the new Valorplate cosmetics coming to the skin. It says that there will be over 123 unique Valorplate skins coming to the game. Now, this is important because when I got to do my sit-down interview with the technical producer, he confirmed that there was a little over 80 cosmetics that were coming with the Fire and Darkness expansion. So the fact that now with this Exalted update, there's going to be a total of 123, that means that at least there's over 40 new skins coming to the game. Now, we've already seen a couple, and I will break some down a little later in this video, but we do also know that we'll be able to unlock some skins via our Ascended Valorplates and our Exalted Valorplates as well. And that's not even taking into consideration some of the other weapon and item skins that'll be coming with this update also. Speaking of which, the Steam site also went on to say that with the Exalted Update, we'll be getting a total of 35 new pieces of loot, 25 of which being brand new weapons coming to the game, 5 brand new banners, and 5 brand new shield cosmetics. We've seen a couple of the new shield cosmetics via the shard breakdowns. We've also saw one of the brand new banners via the shard breakdowns too. And hopefully all 5 of these new banners are going to be legendaries, because let's be real, whenever we're running Ascended Towers to Trials, nobody's actively going out of their way for a legendary banner door, because we all know what legendary banner we're going to get. And I don't want another standard of the Golden Lion. So hopefully every single one of these new banners coming to the game are going to be legendary. And then of course it says that there are 25 new weapons being added as well. Now, breaking that down, with there being 5 weapon classes in the game, pretty much means that every weapon class is going to get 5 brand new weapons. Now, does this include our triple primary weapons from the Exalted Towers of Trials? Who knows? It still could be, but the fact that we're getting more loot and more things to farm for is always well. And speaking of, we know that there's still more loot to get, because this whole post didn't even go into any of the dual primary augments that we'll be getting in the game as well. So there's still potentially a lot more loot to find, but I did want to at least point out some of the stuff that I noticed from the Steam site. Now, of course, when talking about the Exalted Update as well, they had to bring up the brand new Spirit Realm game mode that will have 6-player PvE online co-op gameplay. Now, I wanted to bring this up for multiple reasons. One, because there is some concept art that I've had for months. Actually, I take that back. I've had for over a year, and I think I've shown a couple off in a bunch of my older videos, but I feel like now a lot of this is relevant, especially considering some of it has now been put in the game. So one of the pieces of concept art we got to look at was the Spirit Realm. Now, this again is concept, so it could change, but considering some of the art that I've got to see in these pics have been implemented in the game, means that this might be similar or close to what we might be getting, and if that's the case, it is very wild looking. Now, speaking of concept art, there was also some concept art months before Krigani was actually introduced in the game that was in the folders. And I want to say I actually put this in one of my videos right before the Fire and Darkness expansion was even announced. But the concept art was for a villain called the Kujata. Now, clearly this is Krigani, one of the main bosses in the Fire and Darkness expansion, but the fact that there was concept art for him already months before he was actually introduced in the game leads me to assume that some of this other art that I got to take a look at will be coming as well. Speaking of which, there is another brand new boss that we have yet to see in the game called Azuros. Now, again, similar to Krigani, the name might change when he actually comes into the game, or the creature does, but I do think that this would be a very interesting Spirit Realm boss. I feel like some of the bosses in that realm will be pretty unique, especially lore-wise, considering that's where all of the Archons that were banished to. I wonder if we'll get a chance to fight some of the Archons that are still banished there. And potentially, I wonder if we'll get a look at Cosmera, the giant dragon of this world. And similarly, there is concept art for Cosmera as well, rendered art at that. So the fact that we have so much concept art for stuff that's not in the game yet, and a lot of it pretty much looking like it's damn near complete, I'm kind of curious how much of that's going to be coming with this update or with more future updates. Now lastly, when it comes to some of the concept art, we did get a look at a bunch of new weapons. Weapons that aren't in the game, weapons that might be coming to the game, weapons that weren't in the game that came to the game, and one thing in particular that I definitely took note of. Now, again, I'm not going to put all of that concept art in this video because that is a lot, but I did want to point out one that I thought was familiar, which is for a hammer skin, and this is how it looks, and that clearly is not a hammer. So I wanted to bring this up because I feel like this would be one of the smartest and probably simplest ways for them to introduce new weapon types to the game, and that is via the weapon skins cosmetic tabs in GodFall. Now, with the pre-order bonus, we know we already got a couple skins for some weapons in the game, but we don't have anything too unique. It's typically just recolors of other skins that we already have. But a scythe-like weapon for hammers would be a dope skin and a dope way to give players scythes without having to completely come up with a brand new weapon type with a brand new mechanics. Now, don't get me wrong, that would be the ideal solution, is a whole new weapon type, but considering their team is pretty small and I'm already surprised we're getting an update this big, it would be the simplest way for us to get brand new weapon types without making brand new weapons in general. But after seeing this, I had some other ideas that I thought would be pretty dope if they decided to implement it. Similar to how we saw in the cinematic trailer for the fall, how Macros had that huge dope-ass katana that the devs currently and definitely know players want in the game. But I feel like that would be a dope skin for greatswords. Or even if they didn't want to make it a skin, they can make it an actual weapon that drops in the game, but use the mechanics and gameplay of a greatsword. Same with the scythe skin as well. Like, this doesn't actually have to be a skin for a weapon. It can actually just be a weapon that happens to use the same mechanics of a warhammer. And that's something I'd love to see with the dual blades. Instead of us having two blades, give us two huge gauntlets and let us use the same mechanics as dual blades. Whether it's us swinging the gauntlets around us, using them to grab and pull enemies just like the dual blades, I feel like that'd be pretty dope and visually would look sick on our Valorplates. Now, this exact hammer skin is just pure speculation on my part of actually coming to the game, but I do have it on pretty decent authority, and I'm fairly certain that we'll be getting some unique looking weapons coming to the game. So if they are going to go this route, weapon skins would probably be the safest bet. But now let's move over to the IGN breakdown, because IGN was given a first-hand look at the Exalted Update in action, and there was a lot of changes that I noticed that I definitely wanted to point out and break down right here for y'all. The first of which I noticed being a brand new resource in the game called the Fragment of Divinity. Now, it seems like you can get this just by completing just about anything in the game because he was just running through normal boss fights, but I'm assuming this new resource is part of what you need to level up your Valorplate shards. We already know that leveling up all of your Valorplate shards is what makes your Valorplates exalted, and each Valorplate shard can be leveled up 5 times. And with more things to grind for and more things to level up, it would make sense that you need more resources to do that. Next, we got a new look at one of the Valorplate skins as well for Mesa, which is clearly one of the either Ascendant skins or the Exalted skins. But it is a all chromed out Mesa skin that has this interesting glow or gleam to it, as you see in the gameplay and in some of the cutscenes. We've seen something similar to this with Silvermane as well in one of the Twitter videos, but it is definitely something that I noticed in this video and wanted to point out. Another thing we got a pretty decent look at in the IGN video was the new Sanctum podiums. Like I mentioned in my previous video, as you are leveling up your Valorplates, you're essentially leveling up these nodes on your Valorplate podiums. Once you are leveling up, they'll light them up and put on a unique cosmetic that can be displayed in your actual Sanctum. And because of the view of the camera, we can't see it with Mesa, even though clearly they have a Exalted or Ascended skin, but we can't see it all the way in the corner with the Mobius being lit up on the podium next to some of the other Valorplates. Something else that the Exalted Update is bringing that we saw with the gameplay is a new HUD showing off the Valorplate shards in action. If we look in the left-hand corner, we can see two of the shards that are equipped on this Valorplate, the Dusk of the Earth and the Line in the Sand shard for Mesa, which are personally the two I'm probably going to be rocking for my Mesa build if I'm being real. But in the gameplay, we do see them in action and lit up whenever they are being used. It's a very small change, but it is something that, of course, I noticed. Haven't seen the Vengeance meter in action yet, so we don't know where that's going to be placed or how that's going to look on the actual HUD. But speaking of HUD and just interface in general, we did get a new look at the realm map interface from the 7th Sanctum. It's very simple changes, but it's definitely a lot more streamlined. You actually get to a picture of the boss you're going to fight, and if we look closely, we do get to see the new node for the Spirit Realm game mode. Now, something that was also nice that they showed off in the gameplay was a very slight tease of the new enhanced story coming to GodFall. Now, I've mentioned it again in another video, but GodFall is going to be getting overhauled cutscenes, going to be getting some brand new dialogue and some new gameplay throughout the story, with both Ravena and Saurus accompanying you throughout some of your fights through certain missions throughout the game, and even some unique dialogue between Orin and Macros. And one of the new things that we did get to see in this gameplay was a slight new piece of dialogue coming from the story. It's not really a game-changing piece of dialogue, but we did get to see a bit of that in effect. And lastly, though this isn't any actual feature that was shown or talked about, it's something that I am still hype about because it's exactly what I've been talking about in just about every streams if you've been catching it. The main thing I'm most excited for with this update, outside of the 6-player game mode, is the patch notes. Because even though we've gotten so much information, we've got a lot of videos, a lot of things to break down, I know there's still a ton that they haven't talked about and haven't gone over, whether it's changes or new additions coming to the games or things like that. And one of the things that I noticed throughout the Guild and Commander fight is the time bubbles are much smaller than what they used to be. Now, again, that's not a big deal, but it is a gameplay change coming to the game. So again, the fact that we are clearly seeing new stuff happening in the game means that the patch notes will probably drop a lot more information on things that we can expect to see that still have not been talked about. So when the patch notes drop, I am going to be hyped to read through all of it. And of course, you already know I'll be breaking it down for all of y'all here on the channel. But with that, that is pretty much everything that I've noticed and wanted to break down that, again, hasn't really been talked about anywhere yet. So I wanted to at least put it all in one video and show off some of this exclusive concept art because, again, some of this we might be getting with this update, like the brand new boss and some very unique weapon skins coming to the game. So let me know what unique type of weapon you want to see come to the game and what type of weapon skin you'd like to see for certain weapons in the game. Again, gauntlets have always been my top new weapon I want to see in GodFall, so even if they reskinned it for dual blades, I feel like that would be a dope addition to the game. But let me know what y'all's are in the comment section below. Other than that, I am going to wrap this all up. So thank you all for watching. Like always, be sure to leave a like if you liked the video. And if you didn't, still leave a like because nobody's going to see that dislike. And if you haven't joined the Discord, link to that is in the video description. We have LFGs, guides, builds, and so much more for GodFall and other games I cover on the channel, especially with Tiny Tina's getting ready to come out. You definitely will probably want to join there. Also, speaking of Wonderlands, I will be streaming that tonight, so if you aren't following me on my Twitch, link to that is in the video description below, as well as the community tab on the channel. With full crossplay, I want to play with as many players as I can from as many platforms as I can. So definitely go follow the Twitch channel if you haven't, and I can't wait to see y'all there tonight for the launch of Tiny Tina's Wonderland. Other than that, though, I am out of here, guys, so thank you all again for watching. I'll catch you all on the next one. Thanks for the love. Thanks for the subs. Peace.